Just checking the audio, Stephen. I did touch the microphone for a moment and it slipped. And as you know, these microphones are very temperamental. Still coming up as entertainment news here, Stephen, because I'm not bothered Mars doing a logo. And hi.
Hello and welcome on into this week's tier list. I am one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin. Our co-host, John C. Walsh, is here too. And if you joined us last week on our live and interactive show, we were talking about the best actor. This week, we're talking about one of our favourite action heroes. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wouldn't say that to his face. No.
He's a big boy.
I wouldn't say it to his face.
He's doing shite western songs, so it's absolutely fine.
We'll get into that because we've not actually seen that film.
Scottish Midge.
Yeah.
Hello, Matthew. Have you been drinking again?
It looks like it with a little
Have
glass.
you sobered up?
Is it a half full or half empty glass? So that is the question.
They're never full for long with Matthew.
John, anyone that joined us last week will know all about the tier list if they've watched other YouTube channels doing this very thing. We went into a great discussion about it. It was then a case of what will we do next? Well, let's do something we enjoy. Because not that we didn't enjoy last week's, but there was a lot of actors in there where we were like, I know his face, but I don't know his name. That kind of thing. White. And it was very, very haphazard last week because we were just trialling it to see how it would go. But we're going to do a familiar face. Yeah, we're going to do. He's a familiar face.
Fucking old.
I just
think I am here.
I can't name too many films of Humphrey Bogart, but I can name quite a few of Arnold Schwarzenegger films, John. This is a man that we've all grown up in.
It's going to be a test of your knowledge.
It's Loch Lomond and it's a triple. Cheers. And
I'll
John,
stick to my Blue Moon can.
John, how
Innocent Gun.
Arnold Schwarzenegger for yourself. Throughout your life, when were you first introduced to Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I don't know the exact movie, Stephen, but I recall watching Terminator at a relatively young age. I get introduced to crazy movies.
Yeah.
For my age, the likes of It, the miniseries with Tim Curry, Freddy Krueger, Arachnophobia, Robocop. I love Robocop. Yeah. It's one of my all-time favourite franchises. I, as a kid, had the toys. I love Robocop, so I was well versed in these crazy 80s, 90s action movies.
Bit of trivia for you, John. I can't remember the director's name for Robocop, Dutch fella.
I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
Did you know, just tying in with what we're doing here, he was actually originally cast for the RoboCop main role, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, Paul
Verhoeven.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger was cast as RoboCop.
Oh, I'm glad he wasn't.
He
no,
was
Peter
so
Weller.
big that he couldn't fit into the suit, and they would have had to have made him even bigger. So I'm glad it went to Peter Weller.
Yeah.
Fantastic actor as well.
And then Lemmy can now just live off the fact that he looks like RoboCop. It wouldn't have worked quite as well if it was Arnie doing it.
Yeah.
Lemon will never look like Arnie.
John, will we crack on then? What do you think?
We shall crack on. We shall crack on.
And I'll hand it over to you to obviously explain our tier list system for this week.
I'm struggling to actually. Yeah, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger in a sense. Best movies.
What does that mean?
Worst movies, just special.
Special, okay, yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go in and edit that if you want.
No, that's fine, that's okay.
But just, it's the best of the best. Right down to trash. Right down to haven't seen, can't remember. I'm going to admit readily there is some in here that I have not seen.
John, there is a
I
couple
did not
that
remember.
I don't know anything about. Castellar Garcia, Good Night. Yeah. Running Man remake is coming. No.
That shouldn't happen. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
We will get into that.
Yeah.
Well, just why, even some of his worst movies. And look, this man hasn't made a bad action movie, but some of the action movies, even the good ones, in terms of all-time great movies, they're not in the conversation.
No.
But what makes these movies so special is the time they were made in. And they've tried to remake this man's movies in the modern era, and they don't work.
No.
Because there isn't another Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there's something about it. We'll get into it.
We actually just found out while we were sort of setting up that there is a Kindergarten Cop 2 with Dolph Lundgren from a few years ago that we didn't even know existed. So you're absolutely right. If it's not Arnie, it's not
Total
on.
Recall with Colin Farrell. I mean, Colin Farrell's fucking great.
Total bollocks, yeah.
A great actor.
Yeah.
We were speaking about him last week. Didn't work.
No,
See,
it didn't, no.
What is this first one? Because I'm struggling to fucking read this.
It's Red Heat. Maybe
Heat.
expand the screen for
I will
yourself.
endeavour
Maybe
to.
that might help. I mean, can you think me your own actual screen up to full screen? It's up to yourself if that helps. I don't know. It's Red Heat anyway, John.
Red Heat.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Belushi, brother of John Belushi, of course.
Yes.
Late 80s. Now, this was a good film at the time. It's one of those Tango and Cash buddy sort of cop. They hate each other, but they got to work together type thing to get the job done. Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, this is called Ivan Danko.
Ivan Danko.
He's Russian.
Yeah. And he sounds like Austrian. Because at this point, this would have been late 80s, you said?
Yeah.
So he would have probably ditched the Austrian accent just a little bit. Sadly, I'm dismayed to see that there is no Hercules on this tier list. And it really does pain me physically. Because that's one I have fucking seen.
Technically, that wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was Arnold Strong. That was his name at the time.
And he obviously changed it when he didn't want to be associated with that god-awful accent. I am Hercules.
Yeah.
How dare you touch Hercules? I was going for a swim in the water. There
was this thing in the early 90s, John, called Telethon. It was a charity sort of thing, like comic relief and children in need and all that. And you'd phone in, they would pick 2 Arnold Schwarzenegger films, and Hercules was one of them.
Hercules.
I think Conan was the other one. There were 2 really old films at the time, even in 1992, and Hercules won it. And I think I managed to be about 5 or 10 minutes. I ditched it after. I went, I can't watch this. I didn't.
That'd have been in trash, to be fair.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Steve, where are you ranking this? Because I personally have not seen this one.
It's not trash, John. It's not a bad film. Probably C.
C.
Yeah.
Fair dues. Red
Sonja. This is
Red
the
Sonja.
one I think he did with Bridget Nielsen. Obviously from Rocky 4 fame, Beverly Hills Cop 2 fame, and she's quite famous in her own right as well. She was in Creed 2 as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Bit part, but still memorable. It's one of those. Again, it's in that sort of time period. Let's get all these ones out of the road. That's what I'm saying. I would probably put that in the same kind of bracket as Conan. Probably C. Not amazing or anything like that. Early action film period sort of piece type thing, like Conan. John, Junior. This
is when Arnie was getting into the sort of mid-90s phase, where he'd done like T2.
Yeah.
We mentioned it, Stephen, you should have been doing Terminator 3 at this point.
Yeah.
But instead he wanted to go off and do sort of drama, comedy movies, like Kindergarten Cop and fucking, almost try and branch out and become an Austrian Harrison Ford. And yeah, I mean Danny DeVito, I'm believing. I can
and
think
Emma Thompson.
and Emma Thompson. It should work.
Yeah.
I think Ivan Reitman directed it.
Yeah.
Lots of good pieces in there, but for whatever reason, not amazing.
Yeah.
Richard Tyson's a great villain in Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, I remember Richard Tyson in a TV show called I can't remember what it's called now, but it was a cop show, and he was actually the good guy. He was in it with the guy that played Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop, the moustache guy with the bald head.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know.
Thunderball, Rollerball, something. I can't remember. It was one of those sort of 11 o'clock at night on STV, Scottish Television. That is.
Yes.
On
Still
a Friday.
movies like that. It's now Channel 4 though.
Yeah, and he was a good villain. Yeah. So Rodale has been overshadowed by Commando. Yeah, I would probably say so. I think so.
Stephen, we're sliding that into. We can't put that in the trash. We can't. It's not trash.
No, it's not trash. It's just not my cup of tea. I think anyone getting in and enjoying a Schwarzenegger comedy, they would enjoy this. I just don't really like comedies, to be honest with you. I think there's maybe one I enjoyed. We'll get to that.
He has got good comedic timing though. That's what I will say about him. He is quite funny. Sometimes it's unintentional comedy.
The 6 Days Stole the premise from Johnny 2.0. Is Johnny 2.0? I don't know. Is that Johnny Mnemonic? Perhaps, I'm not sure.
I tell you, you're saying stole, but there's a lot of movies that Arnie did in the 80s that I can see the concept being used moving forward 20, 30 years. Like the Hunger Games or Running Man. I think, what was the one where he's an undercover agent and there's like cheating going on? I think of The Family Man right away.
True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah.
The Family Man. The actual TV show we reacted to with Manos Bashpai. That almost took that concept, if I can speak English, where it's this guy so busy, he's got a really important job.
He lives a double life.
He lives a double life, but he's forgotten to actually spend time with his family, his wife, and he's neglecting that side of his life. That's been taken, that concept, and used in a sort of different culture, if you like, completely. Batman and Robin.
Wow. Yeah.
I tell you, see if I was a kid,
this
would be grew up into fucking B, because I really enjoyed this film as a kid.
Yeah.
But I was a daft kid.
As
an adult,
it's the worst Batman film ever made.
Trash.
John, also it's one of those rare occasions that
are we putting it in trash?
Apart from I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. Is it any worse than Junior? Perhaps, maybe. I'm not sure. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the top villain in the film, and the film's a Batman film, and he's not Batman.
Exactly.
That's where you were at. Studio interference, John. Studio manipulation. Not Joel Schumacher. A lot of people gave that man a hard time over that film, and perhaps maybe Batman Forever as well. But Warner Brothers, as they do, and they have ever since, interfere and ruin good concepts. And I think Joel Schumacher took the brunt of that, unfortunately, being the director. That's what normally happens. It's the director that cops it. But there's moments in it, John, I don't actually mind.
I love the score.
Yeah.
And the
Batmobile's decent.
And again, he's playing this larger it's one of the best Batmobiles ever.
Yeah.
He's playing this larger than life villain.
Yeah.
And he's been asked to do it in a campy manner, and he's did it.
Yeah.
And I think what we should be really structuring this on is based on Arnold Schwarzenegger in these movies. A lot of these movies are Arnold Schwarzenegger. To be fair, the likes of Terminator, it's Schwarzenegger you're there for. As you say, there's a lot of big personalities in Batman and Robin.
There is, yeah.
He's dominating.
Yeah.
So you've got to base it off his performance, which still isn't amazing.
No, but it was classic Arnie, wasn't it?
It was classic Arnie. He's playing
delivered
What Killed the Dinosaurs? Ice Age!
Yeah, great lines in there. Memorable lines. We're still talking about them till today. So if we're talking about it from that perspective, no, it's not trash. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger is not the problem in the film.
It's just a film.
It's a film, yeah. I don't think we're going to have many trash then, because can't really recall. But we might, I don't know.
Yeah. The other one with DeVito.
Twins?
No, the other one.
Junior, that might get dropped down to trash.
I'm fucking struggling to see.
Yeah.
I cannot fucking see it right. I'm looking over here, there's a moonlight. You want to drop that down to trash? No, we'll leave it there.
We'll leave it. We'll do a review at the end.
We'll wait.
Oh wow! The next
is
one.
Is this the Terminator?
This is Terminator 2.
This is Terminator 2. Stephen's got 20/20 vision. That's special.
Yeah,
it's one of the greatest movies ever made. One of the greatest action movies ever made. And he is front and centre of said action movie. realistically, sharing billing with a fucking young kid who never had a career after that, Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm blanking on her name, Linda Hamilton, who
yeah.
is not actually had a career after it.
No.
It is all about Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's about humanising this
Robert
demonic
Patrick.
figure. Robert Patrick as well, of course, is in there playing the villain. An iconic movie. It's Jim Cameron. It's special.
Yeah, John, everything about this film I love.
Oh, here we go.
Everything.
We've got
Everything.
Help 69.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just talk about Terminator 2 at the moment. John, I remember when this came out, I was 15. I think I was just the perfect age for this film coming out, although I think perhaps maybe, I'm not sure what it was, but what it was, what would you call it, the age range at the time
I think it was 18, 15.
I think the first one was 18 and the second one was 15, but just at that age, I think, just to
18.
really, it was an 18. Well, I wasn't the right age, but I saw it. I made sure I saw this. I loved the first film, John. We'll get into that when we're talking about that. But for a sequel, I've not seen a sequel. And Empire Strikes Back was probably the last sequel that surpassed the original film, and this was the next one.
Back to the Future.
No, Back to the Future 2. I don't
Back
think
to the Future is Chris
original.
McLaughlin, really.
Yeah.
And
Still a great film, still a great sequel, but I don't think it surpassed the original.
I actually think that's another one.
Yeah.
Sequels. Jesus
But I mean,
Christ.
that's everything about this, John. As you said, the score, even the ultimate version, we actually got Kyle Reese in it as well. Michael
Bean,
yeah. And just everything about it, the action sequences, just the fact that Robert Patrick's character was missing for about 40 minutes in the middle of the film as well. And you don't miss him because there's so much going on.
Because you're humanising this guy.
Yeah. And it's
that special bond with John.
And the development of Sarah Connor from the first film to this film is incredible. One of the
She goes
best.
from the damsel in distress to being like hard as nails.
Yeah.
Proper nutcase.
And Furlong was fantastic in this, John. He was incredible. You know, I just wish he had a better career than what panned out.
It's funny because for me, it's
ended
92?
up doing films with Christina Ricci called Pecker.
Pecker, yeah. Was it 92? 91?
91, yeah.
91.
Yeah.
Probably said that, Stephen. But he just seemed to embody Ed Furlong, that sort of 80s kid spirit. That sort of attitude, Gen X attitude.
Public Enemy fan, yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of rebelling, independent sort of spirit. And that was palpable in the performance. But to put this young kid alongside Arnie, the sort of discrepancies in build, height, everything, and make it work, a special movie for me. It goes up to the top. Kindergarten Cop.
John, Kindergarten Cop, I said that I don't rate that too much of Arnie's comedies, but this one is actually exceptional. We talked about, obviously, the villain in the film. Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film is...
Working alongside kids is a hard task.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he had a lot of time for them either. But the kids were fantastic as well. They're so funny.
They were funny as hell, man.
But it's I love the soundtrack. I love the score as well in this. It's mostly a soundtrack though. Some nice music in there from that period. And a good story as well.
Who's your daddy and who does he work for?
But he does that switch because he is a cop working undercover, so he has to play the hard man when he has to, and then he has to play a softer side.
There's something about those kind of movies, Stephen, where you are working with young kids and it's almost in a school setting, like School of Rock, where you can bounce off. And I can imagine on the set there would have been a lot of ad-libbing, a lot of fluidity in the performance. Kids are very unpredictable. I know they're actors, kid actors if you like, but I'm sure there would have been a lot of bouncing off and a lot of natural performances happening on that set. Where are we putting it, man?
I think we're going to put that probably
in the context of Arnold Schwarzenegger,
maybe in
his career,
maybe B. I don't know.
We can readdress
probably just under somewhere in between A and B, but we could, as you say, John, we can move it about. I'm kind of struggling with this next one. I can't see it. I think you're going to have to expand it.
Fucking toilet.
Is that Terminator Genesis? I think it is.
I cannot fucking see, Stephen.
I think it's Terminator Genesis.
Genesis.
I've moved to there. That's it there now.
Yeah.
It's Genesis. It's one with obviously
Emilia Clarke. I have not seen this movie, and I had no intentions of seeing the movie because I heard it was terrible.
I think on paper it looks...
You've seen it though?
Well, I have seen it, John.
I've seen scenes from it.
Some of the stuff they went back to redo for obviously for the original film. I think it was the
stuff with Flea.
What's that observatory called in LA? You know that stuff?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and they obviously had to do a bit of recasting, but they nailed it. I think they absolutely nailed that. but as a concept on paper, it looked okay. John Connor as the Terminator, though, just kind of
really.
And it
Is
was
that
just
what they
Smug Chandler was the obviously.
Oh God, yeah. I always forget his fucking name. Jason Clarke.
Yeah. No relation to Amelia.
No.
But John, it's on paper it looked good, but wasn't executed well at all.
So you're giving that? Are you saying that's trash?
I think it's trash. Yeah.
Yeah, trash. There's going to be another Terminator movie going in there that's trash, and it's not saying that. If we're basing it on performances, Arnold was fucking great in it, man. Jingle All the Way. This is another one I have not seen. This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, John, I've seen this. Jake Lloyd's in this.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
And your man who played, he sadly passed away. He was killed by his wife. Voice actor from The Simpsons. Was in it as well. I can't remember his name for the life of me, John. He also was in So I Married an Axe Murderer, but I can't remember his name.
I'll search it up.
It's a good film, John. A Christmas film. It's one of those ones. It's definitely a Christmas film, not like Die Hard. And Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman?
Yeah.
Wow. Was that the guy that got killed in Your Man from Police Academy? Main man from Police Academy. You know what I'm talking about? Blank on his name. Terrible. Steve Guttenberg turned up at the scene.
Yeah.
Did he get shot in his sleep?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, it was tragic.
He fucking turned up at the scene.
Yeah, it was...
As if he knew him.
Yeah, it was random. I don't understand what happened there, but...
It's a weird fucking
I remember when it happened. I don't know if it was his last film, but it must have been one of his last films.
Yeah, because that's quite late on, yeah.
It's a good film, John. It's a good film for the family to watch at Christmas. It's obviously the pursuit of a toy, a toy that the kid wants, and everyone's wanting it, so it's a hard thing to find.
I've experienced that. I remember when I was a young kid, Buzz Lightyear.
John, you remember the scene in Planes, Trains and Automobiles at the start with Steve Martin trying to get a taxi and Kevin Bacon's across the road, and the two of them see the same taxi? Yeah. That's what it's like. Yeah. It's like trying to get to...
That rings a bell. Maybe I have seen this movie. I've seen that many Christmas films.
Yeah, that is a good film. It's decent. It's...
Where are you putting it? A C?
Yeah.
B?
Yeah, no, it's not that good, no.
If you remember in the context of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. John, but I would put everything up on an A if I was basing it on Arnold's performances. I've got to try and rein it in for obviously the film as well. And what were you doing? What were you doing, Arnie? Why did you do this? You know, this is the one with the country and western song. Not seen it, John. I've only seen that song.
For that song alone, it should be going into B at the very least, because that song is fucking great. Arnie doing a country and western song is something that everyone needs in their life, quite frankly. What's it go like?
I've not seen it, John.
You know I'm talking about the country song. Is that the one where there's a fucking... He's got like a...
I remember Christian Harloff.
He owns two really obscure animals, if I'm correct in saying, like, goats or something like that. There's something strange going on in his house, and I think they pop up in the video.
I've not seen the film, so I can't comment.
Haven't seen.
I can't base it on obviously a song. Can't do that.
Sixth Man.
The Sixth Day.
The Sixth Day.
The
Sixth
Day. Another sci-fi film.
This is
the early 2000s, I think it was. I think it might have been 2000. I'm not sure.
We spoke about this though, Steve, and this is where he excels.
Yeah.
This is what he should continue doing. He should continue doing sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I mean at the time, I think Kevin, my brother, fellow movie burner, had this on DVD, and I think it was played on Sky Movies at the time, 2000. Yeah,
2000.
Yeah, I mean Michael Rooker's in there, John. So
Michael Rooker's
right away,
a good watch. Terry Crews also.
Yeah, Tony Goldwyn, I think maybe the villain in this one. He's
Drucker.
almost. I'm pretty sure he's like a Bill Gates type character in it. Like he's sort of the scientist, if you know what I mean. But I mean, is it cloning? It was cloning. That's what it was about. Cloning the barbarian. I had to say it. Sorry. But I mean, it was an okay film. It was nothing great, John. It wasn't classic Arnie.
Fucking skip by Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines to go to this. What's happening? Did I think I moved it, to be fair. I moved it.
Okay. But I think
I'm putting it fucking...
I don't think it's not as bad as Terminator Genesis. No. I'd probably put it in C.
See. Terminator 3, this is Stephen. This John, goes to B for me. I love Terminator. I'm sorry, I'm not having it in C. People shit in this movie. I fucking love this movie. It's not as good as the first two. The first two are iconic movies. That's why it's not going to S. But there's some brilliant moments in this film. I love this film, man. I love the jacket he's wearing. It's about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Fuck everybody.
Hand.
Talk to the hand. It's got to be for me.
Take your turn, bitch. He breaks his hand. John, it has so many funny moments
with Arnie. That's just classic.
You know when he
Arnie
was in the petrol station, the gas station, and he grabs a basket and starts throwing food. What are they doing? What are they doing here? But John, there is some great moments.
I'm putting it at B.
Kidding aside, the ending is one of the best Terminator endings I've ever seen. The end of the world, basically.
They go to the bunker.
The bunker, yeah. And the recasting of John Connor, which at the time I was pretty bummed because I was a fan of Furlong. I was like, oh, they should have had him back. I know he had his troubles out with, obviously, his career. And I felt bringing what's her name again? She played Catherine Brewster. A very famous actress. She's a very famous actress.
That's the wrong fucking person. I'm not got a clue. Is it Terminator? Is it Terminator 3?
Yeah. I'm blanking on her name. Red hair.
Christina Logan?
No, Claire Danes. She's not red hair there.
Yeah, that's what you say that.
Definitely not red hair. But Catherine Brewster obviously had red hair. But
Rick Styles gets so old. Yeah. Fucking hell.
He had problems as well, John. And as we know, Earl Bowen played Dr. Silverman, passed away.
We were just talking about him.
Yeah, John, there was a lot of things in this film that I loved. I thought it was interesting, the villain being the TX. Yeah, it was sort of...
Yeah, that villain, just rehash of Robert Patrick. Yeah. And obviously even the way that she dies, I think it's almost like a rejigging. Similar concept, isn't it? It isn't really. I think she dies due to freezing or something like that, if I'm not wrong. But that's just the way it goes with the Terminator movies.
Yeah.
A lot of the deaths are pretty fucking similar. They seem to end in this sort of industrial area, and that's just the way it goes, really. But not in this. She does end up freezing, doesn't she? Patrick's one goes into the sort of furnace, molten furnace.
Yeah.
And then I think
he obviously as well at one point with the nitrogen.
But he comes back.
He comes back. Yeah, he starts to join himself together again. I think it was they put this. I think it was the detonator thing in her mouth at the end.
Yeah.
And obviously
boom.
Yeah. Kaboom.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it. Yeah.
Come at us, bitch. I'm putting it to B.
Yeah.
Maggie, not his best movie.
I've not seen it, John. I've not seen Maggie.
Not his best movie.
Yeah.
It's going to trash.
Okay.
Sabotage, have you seen this?
No.
Just put it there. We can get through these quickly.
Yeah.
What's this one? I'm struggling to see. Aftermath. Have you seen
that?
John,
I think I reviewed this as well on
Did you?
It was on I think it may have been on Sky Movies at the time, and I thought I watched this. He is not what you expect him to be in this film. It's a very drama driven film, and Arnie is actually pretty good in it in terms of drama and his acting. And it was based on an accident. I think it was was it a plane crash? I can't remember.
This is
obviously the aftermath of the accident and how this character, he's the father. I think it was his daughter. I'm pretty sure.
It was his family. That's the most.
And it's all about all about the aftermath, obviously, of that. And I thought it was fantastic.
Is this when you were going through a particularly dark period in your
Sky
review?
Movies though. It wasn't Netflix. This time it was Sky Movies, and it was because it was Arnie. And I thought I have to see this. I'd probably put it into C, John. I don't think it's any better than what's in there. This is what we have to do. We base it on what we've already selected. And
is that Conan?
That's Conan the Barbarian. I cut you off here, Steve. No, that's Conan the Barbarian. Yeah.
Conan has to go up to fucking at least BA. It's one of his greatest movies. I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but I mean, it's got to. You think of Arnold. I mean, we were mucking around with this AI thing, art thing.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of when I also put Stallone as Conan the Barbarian.
This was
running joke.
This was pre-Terminator as well.
Yeah.
And it was his first major role, and I thought it was fantastic in it. Conan the Barbarian / Conan the Destroyer, which was the sequel. Conan the Barbarian is obviously the far superior film, but for me it's an iconic film, and it was.
Picked the right one.
I think it is, John. I'm pretty sure.
There's two Conans.
Right. Okay, I didn't realise that. Right, you might have to.
I'm going to search it up.
You might have to look at the posters then.
Because if it's Conan the Destroyer,
I didn't know both of them were in there.
I can just see him with his amazing sword. Yeah, that's definitely Conan the Barbarian. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Stephen, that's almost reminiscent of the Star Wars posters of old.
Yeah, and Chevy Chase's European Vacation. He's holding the tennis racket.
There's something about those sort of 70s, 80s, not 90s, 70s and 80s sort of posters. They're just legendary. All the best ones came out then. You think of Jaws.
They all start copying each other. We saw that a couple of years ago with that whole headshot thing, all building out, white background.
Fucking rubbish.
Crap. Because it reminds me of Last Jedi.
Do you agree that's an A? Do you think that could go up?
I would say A. I don't think it's in par with Terminator 2, but it's definitely one of his iconic films, John, and his iconic roles.
Is this The Running Man I'm seeing
This
here?
is The Running Man, yes.
Again, Stephen, for me, this is when Arnie is at his absolute fucking stellar best.
I think anyone had a comeback to his legendary "I'll be back" when Killian says only a rerun. Love that. It was a great comeback. And he was a good villain in the film as well, John. All about propaganda. He was obviously set up for the Bakersfield Massacre, I think it was called. He didn't fire on innocent civilians. He was arrested for it. They then cut obviously the footage from the helicopter to make it look like he actually murdered the civilians. And it was all futuristic, wasn't it? The things round their necks so they couldn't escape and all that.
And of course one of the most legendary lines in all of cinema spawned out of this. I live to see you eat that contract. I can't remember where it goes now.
It was so good.
In fact, God, what was it? I live to see you eat that contract. Oh God, something about I'm going to ram it down your throat and crush your goddamn spine.
And only Arnie can deliver a line like that, John.
It's a long line.
Yeah.
It's a long line.
Mick Fleetwood was in that film, strangely.
I hope you live long enough to fucking see it or something like that. So I'm going to ram it down your throat and down your mouth, crush your goddamn spine. That's a fucking special movie, Stephen. But
I would say it's in par with Conan.
Yeah. Twins. You don't like Twins.
I don't like this film, John. I get why people like it because it's Danny DeVito, who I love.
Stephen, I'm cutting you off here, but The Running Man's another one. I may have mentioned that already. I gave 2 examples. That's probably one of the examples. Kind of like Hunger Games. They've took that similar concept 20, 30 years later and ran with it. It's something that's done a lot in modern day society, and it's propaganda, state control stuff. Just humans.
Well, there's a lot of cheesy stuff in there, and it's.
But it's a classic 80s
movie.
That's a movie that
I love when Killian's asking the old lady in the crowd, and she's saying he's asking who's your bets on for the next kill, and she picks Ben Richards, who's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's like, no, it has to be one of the good guy in their eyes, the good guys. Ben Richards is a villain, so she says, no, it's my choice. I want to pick Ben Richards. That boy's one mean motherfucker. I always loved that line. An old lady saying that. I know, John, I'm just bypassing it.
An absolute pro. My dog's let off a nuclear, a Chernobyl level fart.
Yeah, it's the end of Terminator 3 all over again.
Well, it really is, man. It really is.
End of days.
Obviously, Castellar, I hope I've said your name right, says there's a potential remake of Running Man coming. You can't remake those movies.
No.
Those movies are byproducts of their time. Like Total Recall, like RoboCop. You just cannot remake it. It will be shit.
Unless Stephen King's got something to do with it.
Yeah, no.
It might be him that's pushing it. Like
maybe he should direct it then, like Maximum Overdrive.
Twins, John.
Disaster. Twins, I mean, it's
what do you think? I mean, it's not my film. It's not my cup of tea.
It's just classic sort of comedy thing, isn't it? Danny DeVito.
John Travolta's wife, who sadly passed away last year, was the female lead in this movie.
It's a silly movie, Steve. It's not to be taken serious.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when it came out. I should have to search that up when it came out. Twins.
1989.
Was it as
88,
far
maybe?
Back as that?
Maybe 88.
Let's have a little gander, as we like to say here in Scotland. Well, I like to say it. Twins, can we bring up, please? Twins, 1988. Yeah. Fantastic, Stephen. All the way back.
John, I was obsessed with Arnold. You've got to remember this. I had posters, and me and my dad would watch every film. Yeah, Kelly Preston, sadly missed. David Caruso was in there as well. I didn't realise that. I know he was in Rambo, First Blood, that is, but I didn't know he was in this film. I can't remember him. But Danny DeVito's fantastic, and then he's in John. He's just a very funny guy. Still just being funny. The
concept of them being non-identical twins. And him coming, his long lost sort of brother, and taking him out of this sticky situation. Some of the stupid fucking things happening.
Is Triplets going ahead?
It better not.
This is the one with Eddie Murphy, isn't it?
Yeah,
and Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Fuck, we spoke about that. God.
Yeah, just don't do it.
It'd be a disaster. Just leave it at Twins.
John,
it's a C for me.
What's the next film?
Next film's
Escape. This was one they did with Stallone, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Is this a recent one?
I think it may be.
I says at the time.
I've not seen it. John, if this was the 1980s, this film would have been box office gold, having those two in the same film. But it just wasn't to be. They were rivals at the
Steve,
time.
have you seen The Expendables?
I've seen the first one, yeah.
Have you? Well,
Yeah.
have you seen the second or the third?
No.
We can just skip straight to there and put them in there then, because I've not seen a single Expendables movie, much to my sort of shame. But I haven't. It's just something about all these action heroes come together. It doesn't really. And look, I've seen Stallone training for these movies, and he is jacked out of his fucking brains. This guy. That's not even a proper phrase.
It's not even a word.
Expendables 2, put that there. I've not seen it.
I've seen the first one, it was enough, John, but I knew it's like the Fast and Furious movies. You see one, very much the same thing.
You've seen Escape?
I've not seen it, no.
You've not seen
No. That's what I'm saying. If this came out in the 80s, it would have been box office gold.
Yeah, those two would never have starred in a movie together.
No studio would be able to afford the two of them in the same film.
I'm going to search up Conan the Barbarian sequel. What is it called?
The Destroyer.
The Destroyer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about this. I didn't even know there was a Conan sequel. I only know of Conan.
Yeah.
Conan the Destroyer. So have you seen this, Steve?
I've seen it, John.
Was it good?
It was okay. Not as good. Grace Jones is in this one, and it was.
She was always a crazy figure.
Yeah.
A crazy character. She gave me fucking nightmares as a kid.
She was in A View to a Kill, the James Bond film with Roger Moore.
Fucking crazy.
Very
crazy.
strong woman. John. I mean,
scared me shit.
It was one of those cases, the sequel just wouldn't live up to the original film. It's the total opposite of the Terminator franchise. It just couldn't obviously live up to that first movie. 84, I think it came out. Me and my dad enjoyed it. There was this period where they were doing a lot of films like that, though. Krull, The Beastmaster, those type of films, and they were all decent in their own way, I suppose. But for me,
Escape's a good film, Matthew.
Yeah, I might have to watch it. But for me, it's not as good as the original. I'd probably have it maybe C.
There's a lot of C's in here.
Yeah.
This is a damning indictment of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We'll have a wee readjust once we're done, John.
The last action hero.
We were talking about this before we came on.
We
John's not saw this. 94.
I've not seen a lot of 80s movies. I've not seen The Goonies.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I love the concept, Charles Dance. I do have to, but that'd be brilliant to do a watch along. I love the theory. It's almost like Jumanji. Sucked into this sort of weird, wacky world, but it's almost breaking the fourth wall, Stephen, as you says. Well, the little kid's aware of him as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they go and check out Terminator sections in video stores, and it's Sly Stallone playing him.
Yeah, it's great things. A lot of cameos, John.
A lot of cameos.
If you look at, I think one of the cameos that I do recall, I think it was this film anyway, was it was he played Death, I think, at the very end. It was Ian McKellen. I'm pretty sure he's in this. I'm sure it's this film. I barely see him, but he's in it as well. But you look at the cast and you go, that's a phenomenal cast, but it's just a little bit part. Sharon Stone, Robert Patrick's in there.
There was another movie from round about that era. It's got a similar incredible poster. The poster is,
it's almost like Indiana Jones type poster, isn't it?
Even the fonts kind of
I think that's what they're trying to sort of recapture, that sort of action hero type.
Action Jackson.
Yeah, that kind of thing, in 1994.
Because
that was a big thing in the 80s. For me,
don't say see again.
But it's not. I don't think it's a bad film, John. I think it just came off the back of a really successful run for Arnold, from probably about 87 right up to 94. So he had a 7-year stretch of really good films, and this one, not a bad film, just maybe not on par with the rest of them. It's not as I can't put it in with Genesis. It's not a bad film. It's got to be C. I'm sorry.
Got to be C.
Yeah.
Fair enough. The Expendables.
You're
doing a lot of talking, Steve. You're doing the heavy lifting here.
Yeah.
This is your era.
This is me pumping iron.
This is your era.
John,
Raw Iron, incidentally. Can we just go right ahead and put that into C? That's a docu-series. It's almost fucking Inception.
I've not seen it.
I have certainly seen bits of it, if not the full thing, because I'm obsessed with this fucking guy and his physique.
Yeah.
Just a 7-time Mr. Olympian, I believe. One of the greatest, if not the single greatest physiques ever. Also, I was doing weight training for a good bit. Not done it in a year. This guy was a huge inspiration. So yeah, I mean, that kind of details, sort of muckiness of that world. Man was 16, 14, something like that. Came from Austria. I think he went somewhere else to get his hands on stimulants, shall we say. So Yeah.
Enhancements. Yes.
Also came over stateside, became a fucking superstar. Yeah, it's just, yeah. See, I just stepped in there. I know you've not seen it. The Expendables.
I've seen this once, John, and once was enough. It was not a bad film. It wasn't great. No, I don't really rate it, to be honest with you. I don't think it's that good.
Trash?
I'd probably put it in trash. It's one of those things that may have worked in the 80s if you could get a studio that could afford all these on the ensemble that they obviously put together for this film. But for me, it didn't really do anything for me. I think by that point I was past it. Eraser with James Caan is excellent. Yeah.
James Caan, the late great,
just
passed away not long ago. Sonny Corleone.
Yeah.
You want to put Eraser in just now then? Because I
think we should. Vanessa Williams is in this film. I knew her as a singer.
Where are you putting it? I'm just letting you pick all of them tonight.
Not a great film. I would probably put that in probably D, John, or whatever that one is that the Expendables are in. It's not that great. It's not that great. I don't really like it. James Caan is in an Adam Sandler film, and the film's shite. It's so. I love James Caan. I love Adam Sandler, by the way. I love Arnold, but it's not a great film.
What is this? I'm getting it.
World's Strongest Teenager.
Barbie.
Yeah. So, Last Stand. This is all subjective, by the way, so don't take offence. The Last Stand. I've not seen it, John. Right, this is your platform now.
Trash.
You're not talking about it?
That's fucking dreadful, Steve.
We have to talk about it.
Terminator, that fate.
We have to.
It's not even a fucking Terminator movie. It's dreadful. Just to paint it by numbers.
I love the way you are just going to not even fucking talking about it.
Yeah. I sadly have seen it. I put it in the wrong category as well. Terminator Dark Fate's just a paint it by numbers generic action movie. They kill John Connor off in the first 5 seconds, 10, 15, 20 seconds.
And bring in a different John Connor.
Bring in a fucking young female Hispanic Jean Connor. It's fucking dreadful. It's a god awful movie. To make matters worse, they've made the original Terminator, or at least some variation of him, a sort of pacified upholsterer. He's the sort of comedic levity in a Terminator fucking movie. Carl, the upholsterer, is the comedic levity in a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Now, if we're basing it on performances, but we're not basing it on movies, if we're basing it on his performance, he was actually one of the one of the best performances in the movie. It was so different.
Yeah.
Again, it's just went full circle from that first movie to this. But it's just a fucking dreadful movie. I felt for Linda Hamilton because she really did try to take on the persona of this almost action hero herself, but it's just like a shitter version of T2. It never had to happen. And I think it was T.G. Miller or Tim Miller
yeah,
decided to start attacking the fan base.
Yeah,
it's like, no, you've just made a bad movie, my friend. You don't have to attack us.
I think I ended up attacking James Cameron as well.
Yeah.
I think James
Cameron was to blame in that instance because he appeared at Hall H Comic Con. Basically says, John's in the movie. Way!
Yeah, we've got Edward back,
We've got Edward back. He's back in the movie, for fucking 20 seconds. He's de-aged, and he hasn't changed his clothing.
John, it was impressive, though. It was, visually, that was impressive. But
the same outfit on, though, Stephen.
Narratively, it killed the second film. It killed it. If you're going to take that
fucking chosen
film as the sort of follow-on from Terminator 2, everything that happened in Terminator 2 was a waste of time. Absolutely, the whole film was a waste of time. So don't watch it.
Well, Matthew, Predator's right. I mean,
Predator's score, yeah.
In the
fantastic tension in that film, John. It's almost horror-like. Predator, the actual Predator, using what do you call that? It's the sort of thermal.
It was like thermal imaging.
The
heat imaging.
It was incredible. Good.
In fact, it was transparent. Well. Really good sort of LED effects for that time period, at least anyway. Actually, something terrifying as well. A terrifying concept.
This is the one that obviously Carol Weathers was playing opposite Arnold in this one. That famous grip that they did and flexed their muscles.
There's something about that period as well, Stephen. I think of the likes of Aliens. Just the gun effects, the shooting effects. There's something about it. It's got a real bassy thumping.
Yeah.
I just love this area. I can't even speak. some people would suggest I can't ever speak. I love this era of action movies. Obviously, the likes of Cobra Kai went back and played homage to all these great action movies of that time. It's fucking up there. It's one of the greatest action movies, if not these great in my own class in Terminator.
What's spawned sequels, John, that have never matched the original film. They just cannot do it.
No.
It's such a great film.
To be fair, The Predator had one good moment, and it was the lab scene. But again, there's no Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's this little guy, Boyd Holbrook. Decent actor.
From Logan fame,
Yeah, he's a decent actor, but he tried to take on the persona of Arnie. Failed badly. And it's really what I was hinting at earlier on in this video, Stephen. The movies, love them or hate them, rank them where you want to rank them. But certainly the action stuff this guy did in the 80s and 90s, his performance, his presence was what made those movies what they were.
Yeah.
You could not take another actor, even a Sly Stallone in that time period, put them in the movie and have the same brilliance.
Oh, that's it, exactly.
It's all on Arnie.
Yeah.
He is the movie. His presence, his stature, just the lines he's bringing, he is the movie. You can't recast, you can't remake these movies. They've tried, they've failed again and again and again. It's him.
Yeah.
He is the movie. Prey, I really enjoyed Prey.
Yeah, Prey was a
very decent. It's an interesting concept to try to do something different.
They had to. They tried all the other. I think Adrian Brody was in one of the versions as well. I can't remember. Was that Predators?
Predators,
Predators. Yeah.
There was another one, wasn't there? Alien versus Predator.
Okay.
Collateral Damage rings a bell. These, I'll have to say this as well, just as like a little disclaimer. Usually with Arnie, out with his really famous ones, I watch his movies once and I'm done. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Arnie, but I tend to watch this guy's movies like once and then it's like, right, that's enough, and I move off. There's a couple of actors like that. Sly Stallone's another one.
Yeah.
Try to think of another example here off the top of my head. There's some actors like that. I just, right, that's it, and you move on. Tony Hopkins is another one.
Yeah.
I really go back and rewatch.
For all different reasons. Tony Hopkins.
Tom Cruise
is a very. He's not I was going to say he's a draining actor. He's not a draining actor. His performances are very draining in sense of emotions. Certainly with The Father, I cannot go back and watch that film again. It was such an emotional film, and I got everything I could out of that first viewing and the only viewing. But you're absolutely right, John. Arnold Schwarzenegger is in that same vein where once you've seen it, is there any real point in going back? It's very unique to get an Arnold Schwarzenegger film you will rewatch, and those ones at the very top are probably the only ones that you probably watch every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, this is an early 2000s one, Stephen, and this is really where he was starting to maybe switch up and think about doing politics as a career.
Yeah, well, close to that, John. I think it was the next year. I think Terminator 3 was the last one he did, and then he stepped into being the governor. The governor
of fucking California. Became a Republican.
Yeah.
I don't think he became, I think he was always a Republican.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine. I've said this before, when speaking about the likes of Chris Pratt. You don't hate on someone for their political views. That's a damn fucking thing. It's not a thing.
We're not in the best place to comment on that situation anyway. Over here we see obviously Republicans as more like the Conservative Party, and Liberals are obviously more like sort of Labour, and that's the only way we can really identify. We don't really know too much about it in that sense. In terms of politics, I'm like you, John, I'm not really interested. It's the person. I've loved Arnold since I was a young age, and I don't really care about his politics or anything he's doing in his personal life. It's all about this actor and what he brings to the big screen.
Collateral Damage, though, Stephen, is
it's one of those ones he phones in, John, for me anyway.
Trash?
Yeah, I put it in trash.
Terminator?
That's GOAT level. This is the one that kicked it all off, wasn't it? Horror film, John, I don't care what anyone says.
It's a fucking horror film.
That's
100%.
not a sci-fi film to me. It is, but it's the horror element overtakes everything. It overshadows any other genre that's thrown into that film.
It's him bringing the horror.
Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. The way he hunts down Sarah Connor as well. He goes through the phone book, and I think there's maybe about 3 Sarah Connors, and he hunts them all down and just kills them cold blood. You know, that's what you're looking for a Terminator. And obviously Michael Biehn in that film as well, John, was fantastic. We saw the early sort of version of Sarah Connor played by Linda Hamilton, total shadow of what she would become. a nervous wreck. You see it at the very end.
You would be a nervous wreck, though.
She does. I think Michael Biehn's character is obviously struggling. I think he's losing blood. She gets a grip of him, says, "Stand up, soldier," or something like that. And she also says something, "You're terminated, mother," at the end as well. I'm pretty sure she says that.
That's one of the most iconic scenes.
Yeah.
That end sequence, just the practical effects.
Yeah, see it crawling through that.
Typifies everything
horror.
about James Cameron, what James Cameron stands for me. Even moving into these huge sort of CG fest, massive sets that you're seeing in Avatar, you go all the way back to his early career, and this guy was always on the sort of, what would you call it? I'm trying to think. Sort of the edge.
Yeah.
Pushing it to the absolute limit. Film, what you can do with visual effects. He's always been a pioneering figure. And that Terminator, even now, I know it's stop motion, but it's terrifying the way it moves. It's sort of fucking red eyes.
Yeah.
Just the set, and again, you always end up in these sort of industrial areas at the end of these Terminator movies, but this was the one that started it all.
I'm just looking at Red
And even
Sonja here, John. Can we move it down to trash? Because I'm actually starting to look at this now. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm thinking that's not any better than Expendables. It's not. I'm sure we'll go up and down with a lot of them.
I will defer to you, Stephen, on that one. But yeah, I mean, even the classic sequence at the police station just goes on for about 5 minutes. Just fucking carnage. Shooting.
In there.
Stephen, we had the chance to fucking go and see him, and I still kick myself.
I don't think we'll get a chance again. Yeah.
Again, he was in Aliens, wasn't he? He played the cyborg sort of android thing. It's just one of the greatest movies ever made. What can you say about it? It should have stopped after 2, realistically. Yeah. I'm kind of contradicting myself because I put Terminator 3 in at B.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the movie, but it's not on that level.
No.
I mean, there is levels to this, and
well, you can see that.
The first two are two levels above.
Yeah.
Stephen, this one is probably the last really sort of dodgy one for me.
Raw Deal, John, was one of my dad's favourites. It was, I think it might have been his first Schwarzenegger film he saw.
I don't mean to laugh at that, but you told me a story about your dad where he used to go to the sort of rental shop and pick out Armageddon.
Yeah,
but it was a different one.
It wasn't the Ben Affleck one.
Yes.
John, Raw Deal does have an excellent soundtrack. It has Jumpin' Jack Flash from the Rolling Stones in there, and it's a good film. It's an enjoyable film. Early Arnie, of course. This was after Terminator, in between Terminator and probably Running Man. And I don't know, 86 maybe, I'm guessing here. I'm not sure when this came out, maybe about 86, 85, 86.
Search it up just now.
But it was after Terminator. And
1986, Stephen, fucking hell.
So for this, it was one that wasn't a sci-fi, so it didn't really interest me. It was more my dad's sort of action type films. But look at that guy's arms.
I know. His arms are bigger than my legs.
His arms are bigger than his head.
Yeah.
But it was a good film. I mean, it kind of got a bit of dark humour in there as well. 5.5 out of 10. That's pretty average. But for me, I don't think it's any. I don't think it's any worse than Red Heat. I don't think it's any worse than that. I'd probably put it in C.
Yeah. Pop it in there.
Yeah.
This is in no specific order. It has to be
one thing for sure. A lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger films, according to us, are pretty average. Why are we doing this? Big fans of Arnie. Fucking average.
I was laughing at that. That's why I'm like, do we really? I mean,
interesting.
I think that's fair. Yeah. He's not one of the all-time great fucking actors in Hollywood. He's an action hero. He's an action star. Yeah. That's what he was. And when he did really good, high-caliber sci-fi action stuff, it was the best ever created. It's the best in its class. Predator, Commando. It's not really sci-fi, but you know, it's fucking action. Obviously, Terminator. They're the best in class. And Sly Stallone would maybe disagree with that, but he can go and fuck himself. End of Days, I love End of Days. This is one with Gabriel Byrne, did you say?
Yeah.
I always get this mixed up with The Devil's Advocate. I don't know why.
It was all at the same time, that's why. And what was the other one?
There was another one.
With Gabriel Byrne. Gabriel Byrne. What's that called again? I can't remember. We were talking about it earlier as well.
God.
You might have to look that up, John. But Gabriel Byrne, it was. I think it came out roughly about the same time as well. Gabriel Byrne being the devil.
Yeah.
But a fantastic film, John. It is a really good film.
I'm putting this in at A.
I would as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's not any worse than it's not any worse than Running Man, but it's definitely better than Kindergarten Cop and
Fucking right, it is. True Lies is better than them as well, isn't it?
Oh,
Steve?
John, do you know something? James Cameron, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tom Arnold, Jamie Lee Curtis.
We just watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis is not aged well.
John, I don't know. True Lies, James
it?
Cameron film, very well made film, and it had one of the most expensive stunts ever in cinematic history. I'm pretty sure it was a horse jumping through a building's window or something like that. It was incredible. Is that top tier 94?
Is it better than? Is it the question to ask is why have we put The Running Man in at A instead? I think it's a bit harsh. I think that could. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think that's fair, John.
It's better than Conan though.
I would probably put True Lies maybe in A.
Yeah.
I was thinking of maybe putting it top tier, but I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I think it's maybe just below top tier.
And it's that concept, isn't it? It's a double life thing going on again, isn't it? Where he's sort of. We spoke about this earlier on. I feel like I'm repeating myself because I am. So yeah, I mean, that gets into A. That's A for me. I mean, it's definitely in his filmography. It's 100%
Total
A.
Recall, John.
Total Recall.
This is an A for me. I fucking love this.
Top
song.
of A. I mean, it could even.
No, sorry, I think it's top tier.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I keep
yeah.
thinking top tier's A. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say it.
Yeah. How many have I
One
fucked
of
up already?
fucking best fucking movies he's ever
That
made.
is, John. That's so quotable as well, isn't it?
See you at the party, right?
Yeah.
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, get your ass to Mars. He's a fucking asshole.
What was it? Was true? Oh God! No, it's coming, Commando. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. So you talk about quotable. You talk about fucking quotable.
Everything
Every single
about
thing comes
Total
out
Recall I
of
love,
fucking movie.
and you were talking about obviously the remake earlier. It's just a film that cannot be remade.
It
Something
can't.
about its period. Johnny Cabs. I fucking hate that thing.
It's the practical effects, Stephen.
John, naturally,
you can't
there's
remake.
Many outside scenes when you think about it.
No, it's
very
almost
enclosed.
like it's almost like fucking the original Bestman Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's all these sort of futuristic, dystopian indoor
Yeah.
settings. But it's just done so well, Stephen. The concept too. It's something that even now humanity is obsessed with. Going to Mars, sort of terraforming other planets, getting off of this place.
Oh, Harley, you better get your ass to
Yeah,
Mars.
he better get his ass to somewhere. As long as it's not directly beneath me and my nostrils, then I will be happy. But Stephen,
How's
again,
the
it's-
sound, John? Because I
Yeah,
might have bumped into the microphone.
yeah, I'll
there.
have a look.
Just in case we're frazzling away
Wow,
there.
yeah, I'm frazzling with my dog's flatulence. It's on another level. I think he's literally about to shart.
Oh dear.
How's it? Yeah, a little bit. Do a little bit. I mean, maybe yours. Let's just bump it.
Yeah.
These are shit.
Right. We'll just do
These are
it.
terrible. That's
Okay.
it. We're fine and dandy.
Yeah. Yeah, John.
Audio
a great
2020.
film.
Don't buy that.
Sharon Stone's in this as well.
Sharon Stone, yeah. That was
Playing
her
the
either.
wife. She was an absolute bitch in it. Shoots her in the head. Consider that a divorce.
Obviously
Exactly.
obviously the moment where he's under the skies and it's sort of,
Yeah.
What's
2
back?
weeks. Yeah.
it's fucking great. The
Yeah.
effects for that time period are great. And as we spoke about remakes.
Is it
We
Stan
says
Winston that did the? I'm pretty sure it was Stan Winston that did the practical effects, because
Whoever it is.
just when you're talking about that 2 weeks women, the big women,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure the same
Heath-
effects were the same as the Terminator effects, that sort of stop
Yeah,
motion
it's
thing going
definitely
on.
stop motion,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But Stephen, you can't remake it.
No,
They
definitely not.
tried and they failed. There is something about this era. Real greatness came out of those sort of dystopian. I don't know if it's just the fact we are now more cynical, we're now more advanced, if you like. We know more
Yeah.
about space and these other planets. There was a sort of childlike wonder back in those days about the potential for the future. I would have thought back then they would have thought by now we would have been on the likes of Mars doing these things. Back to the Future was dabbling with that, flying cars.
Yeah.
It's a different era. Now we're actually living in this time period and we realise that we're probably fucked and we're never going to be in flying cars. Certainly there is flying cars, but they're shit.
Yeah.
It just ruins it.
Yeah.
It's crap. And the films sort of in that. I mean, even Blade Runner. They did a sequel to Blade Runner. It was great. It was Denis Villeneuve. But it wasn't as good as this shitty little independent
Ridley Scott. Yeah.
Ridley Scott effort, which was similar to this. It was boxed off. It was little indoor environments. That was better for me.
Yeah.
This huge $200 million
I think because
blockbuster.
the stories is that interesting that you can be excused for the sort of sets and stuff like that you use, because obviously you want to do a film, you know, it's going to be based in Mars for quite a bit. It could become quite expensive to recreate something like that. But Costello says Total Recall is a masterpiece. Yeah, I think so.
This is what I'm talking about, though. These movies where he's doing like these action sci-fi movies, they're the best in class. I can't think of any other. I mean, there's been a lot of movies went to Mars. I remember a John Constantine one. Not John Constantine, John Carpenter. You're speaking about Constantine. It's in my brain now. Never leaving my brain. I was watching a sort of ghost thing last night. I don't even believe in ghosts, but it stuck with me. I had a dream. I'm not watching that again. Not tonight. Fucking hell. Not good. And then I woke up to my dog jabbing mum. What, some form of World War II Japanese torture. Just jabbing mum continually. I'm like, is my arm spasming? No, it was my dog kicking me continually. Just subtly, but it was there. Where did I go with that? I don't know. John Carpenter. There was some horror Mars thing. But a lot of movies set in Mars. For me, this is the best.
Yeah.
And again, it's down to Arnie and his performance. And again, just the villains from that era are special. Yeah, RoboCop one is one of the all-time great fucking movies, man. I love RoboCop. Just the dialogue, the violence. It's over the top, but it's great. They're laughing at
Clarence, this man's still acting. He's in that 90s show now on Netflix. Clarence Boddicker. Some of the best lines.
Give that man a hand or something like that.
Give him a hand. It's the way he talks. He's quite nasally. And can you fly, Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby.
And then throws him out of the van. An incredible actor, incredible villain as well. Peter Weller, fantastic as Alex J. Murphy. Ronnie Cox in there as well, playing. He's the sort of the grey-haired villain. I can't remember what was his name again in that. Can't remember. But just it's a great film, John. A good cast as well, and very much like Total Recall. The set design was very
practical
similar.
effects.
Yeah. What was the director's name again?
Verhoeven.
Yeah.
Verhoeven.
Kurtwood Smith. Yeah. Fantastic actor.
Good Dutchman. Commando, Steve.
Commando, John.
I'd put it right up there. I'd put it high A, maybe.
I would say yes. It's got some of the cheesiest lines and some of the cheesiest scenes. But
my friend here, leave him, but don't disturb him. He's dead tired.
Why are you saying that?
Let off some steam.
Yeah. Bennett. Was it Bennett?
Bennett.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you
I've
do?
missed you, John.
What did
this guy's got a steel.
I'm not going to shoot you between
vest on.
I'm not going to shoot you between the eyes. I'm going to shoot you between the balls. You're dying. Some of it, you're dying. Bullshit. She's fucking great. That's Arnie. He's absolute best, isn't it? There's another one. What do you do with him? I let him
go. The way he just goes onto that island and starts wreaking havoc, just throwing grenades behind his back, and guys are flying in the air all over the place.
Great, isn't it?
It's just,
that's what it's all about.
There's not even got a scratch on him at the end. But sweat, that's it. But it's fantastic, John. It's such a ride, just from that moment he jumps out the plane, and then he's on a clock. He's on the clock to obviously get to his daughter before obviously all hell breaks loose. But a fantastic film, enjoyable ride.
That's what
Has it probably been inspired by Rambo?
You said that line, didn't you? He does Rambo, he does Commando, you do Rambo.
Yeah, so
he does Commando, you do Rambo. I don't know. I don't know what way I said it there, but you swap it.
You did Rambo, he did Commando.
Yeah,
that was sly. Yeah,
but and obviously it went into sort of mind warfare.
Yeah.
Not long after that, where Arnie was
playing him,
putting out decoy, sort of casting, or not casting, like additions.
I was planting the seeds with Sly's agent, saying, "I'm thinking about doing this film called Stop or My Mum Will Shoot." So that gets back to Sly, and the agent's pushing it. He's going to do it. If you don't do this, he's going to do it, and you're going to miss out. Sly does it. And I can imagine Arnie sitting back laughing with a cigar. Okay, love him, man. Tell you,
Sly was obsessed with Arnie, to the point where he was putting like 3-inch lifts in his shoes to try and make himself look taller.
Cobra.
Arnie's fucking ridiculous, honestly. Watch the intro to that. He's wearing high heels. I'm like, what the fuck
platform
is this?
shoes.
What is the?
He borrowed them from the suite.
It was like John Lennon in the Mind Games video.
Yeah.
just ridiculous. Arnie was at 6'2".
Yeah.
It's like, we're never going to compete with this guy. Never. And look, he had a great physique, but Arnie was a Mr. Olympian. Just forget about it. It's not going to happen. Sly, choose your battles. A man's got to know his limitations.
That's it.
As the arsewipe chief from one of the Dirty Harry movies said, maybe the one with the cops go rogue, the bikers. Forget the name of it. Terrible.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, this is the list, Stephen. Anything going up or down?
I'm just
I
looking,
think the top ones are absolutely set in stone.
I think second tier John is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Kindergarten Cop, Terminator 3, I would put them on level peggings. Anything that can be moved from maybe C down the way or up the way, maybe. I don't think so. I think there's a big jump between Conan the Destroyer and Conan the Barbarian.
I think if Matthew was here, he would strongly disagree with.
I think if you've seen Last Action Hero, John, I think you'd enjoy it. You might actually put that somewhere else. For me, it's been a long time since I saw it, and I'm kind of basing it off the way I reacted to it, like with most people at the time. Yeah. It's just not as good as your other films, Arnold, but still a good film. In hindsight.
What was the one that Matthew was dismayed at, shall we say?
I think it was Eraser.
Eraser was Eraser.
Yeah,
I've never seen Eraser,
yeah,
so
it's just not.
I've never seen Eraser.
It's like Collateral Damage and all that, you know. It's just phoned in for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. I mean, doesn't mean
it's
right.
all subjective, man. All
it.
that is subjective, and this is certainly subjective. There may be people out there who think. I mean, we've not seen The Expendables, so we can't really talk about it. Maybe putting it up here. Some may put it down there. Some may take Collateral Damage and put it at A.
Arnie's now coming. He's approaching 80. If he's not already, I can't remember what year he was born, but. I think we've seen.
Mad, isn't it?
It is, John. It's sad, and you know, it's obviously it's a generation thing as well in terms of just being around at the right time to see this man
75
at his best. He's still good at 75, John. But I think it's safe to say that we've seen the best of him behind him now in terms of action movies.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's not a bad thing. He's left a great legacy, and all those films you can go back and watch. All those C average rated films from us two big Arnold Schwarzenegger fans.
Conan the Barbarian was almost a drug fueled mess.
I'd
love to know who said that. But yeah, look, man, it's all subjective. But what is not subjective is the fact, as you say, is this guy. His best is probably behind him, but his best was fantastic. Yeah. He's one of the true icons of Hollywood cinema. And this was a guy who came from humble beginnings. He had nothing. Yeah. Came from Austria, had to move out of there just to. I'm not going to beat about the bush here, to get his hands on fucking steroids so he could compete as a bodybuilder. They were all at it. He will admit he was at it. He couldn't get his hands on it. He had to leave so he could then be in an environment to push his body. His body would have been great anyway. He had Mr. Olympian genes, but to actually push it so he was competing with some of these guys, had to leave. That took him on a natural trajectory of being also a fucking Hollywood actor, an action hero if you like. His physique, his sight, his charisma lended to that. His career's undeniable, Stephen, what he's done. Good and bad, it's all there, warts and all.
Yeah, that's it.
But he's a legendary figure. Love Arnie. What a guy. Top of the pop. And we're getting the intro again. Top of the pop, not that shite sort of music show that used to be good maybe 35 years ago, but descended into utter shiteness, what do you say, about 20 years ago, maybe after Little by Little, I think it was, with Oasis was done. And then it just went shit. But anyway, I digress. We're going off a cliff here. I am anyway. Stephen, Matthew saying spot on. I don't know what he's talking about. What are you talking about, Matthew? Maybe lend some context to that, mate. I was too busy talking utter shit to pay attention to when that comment came in. We're going to round it up though. Are you done, Stephen?
I'm done, yeah.
What is your thoughts on Arnold Schwarzenegger? Arnie, as we have called him for simplicity's sake. You can't really fit Schwarzenegger into a thumbnail and make it work. Thank God everyone calls him Arnie. We made it work. How would you rank his movies? Do you agree with how we have ranked it? The likes of Terminator, Predator, Terminator 2, Total Recall are up there. Top of the pops. The special branch of his movies, if you like. We've put the likes of Expendables, Collateral Damage, Maggie, Eraser and Trash. How would you rank his movies?
Maggie.
Maybe share your...
Maggie, we're gonna hurt man here.
Maggie. Maybe share your ranking of his movies. Where would you rate this guy as an actor as well, an action star in Hollywood history? Share your thoughts down below about that. Yeah, what he said about it, I mean, it's undeniable. It's Arnie here, we're talking about here. He takes those glasses, he flings that guy on the fucking grill in Terminator.
John, I put him in the same par as Clint Eastwood. I really do, in terms of legacy.
Yeah, Clint. I don't know. Clint's a director though as well.
In terms of acting, I think he's just I don't think Clint Eastwood's a great actor, but just iconic characters.
We need to do
films.
Clint.
Yeah,
he's another one we have to do at some point.
Yeah,
absolutely. Although I don't know how much of Clint's what you've seen.
Dirty Harry's and the Westerns.
The Westerns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's shit.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's a bit more ranged than
Clint. Share your thoughts down below if you have to say at all down below in the comment section. Please, but you can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon on YouTube to get notifications straight to your eyeballs, and do the same thing over on Twitch. Follow button over there. Notifications button to see us live over there. Do my thing. Hasta la vista, baby, yes. All that's left to say is, me and Steve are done. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, we'll be back. Bye-bye. I made a complete arse of that. I mean, I did say hasta la vista before it, so I couldn't really put it in, Stephen. So I just went with we'll be back. Because we will.
Tired.
He's dead tired. Stick around.